Welcome everyone. I'm Rhonda and this is Joy Junktique, and I'm so glad that you joined me today. I am excited to share my project that I did for the How Boho Can You Go collaboration with RachandBella Crafts, and I'm so thankful for being invited to participate in this. This is a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I enjoyed the challenge, and I will be sharing all of the links to each of the creators for this month down below, and so all the information will be there. So go and check out all of the projects that people have created this month. They are all just awesome, so I'm sure you'll enjoy it. So she had a lot of beautiful kits, boho kits that we could pick from, and so the patterns and the designs are just gorgeous. And so what I made is a boho bag made with 2 sheets of legal size paper that I printed on and pieced together and formed this bag. I added a little handle at the top, a pocket here, and how you fold the paper together. And I actually learned this from A Trace of Sparkle, so I'll link that video below. And then she also said she learned it from Girl on the Ridge, so I'll link both of those videos below on how to make this bag. But I'm going to walk you through the steps of how to do it today. And then from there I just added all these beautiful trims, and this was a pair of blue jean pants that I cut the bottom off. It had a fringe at the bottom, so I cut that off and used that there. And just all kinds of little bits and pieces and handmade roses, just lots of goodies that went into this to piece it together and form this boho bag. And then I also made a sweet little journal. I couldn't resist. I had to make a journal to go with it. I used another piece of those blue jean pants and that same ribbon, and then just kind of put some pretties on here. I also added this little pocket that's made from just an old book page. So I just rolled up that book page that I had added some washi tape to, and there's all the little bits and pieces of these beautiful little pictures. So those are down in here. So as you open up the journal, it's just got lots of little scrap pieces and pieces from the kits, and just lots of pretty pages. Here there was a hole already in the jeans for the knees, I believe. So I just kept it there and put a little piece of metallic backing. That's actually an old tin top photo that was no longer any good. You couldn't see any picture on it. So I put it behind there and just left the hole as is so I could make a pocket out of it and put this beautiful picture, which I embellished with this little brad that wrapped around it, this little tab brad, and a little piece of sequin fabric. So that slips down in there, and then as you open it, I added a piece off of a shirt that had a bunch of fringe so that it would hang down at the bottom and be really pretty. So there's a page of that in here. Just all kinds of little scrap pieces from the kits, from coffee dye, from books, and I'll be filling these pockets with more goodies. So that is how I did that, and I think it turned out really pretty. So this is all just made from a piece of cardboard, and I put some of the really pretty background paper in there, and added the blue jean fabric on the front, and then added this little trim inside. So, and then I just added the little sari silk ribbon from one side of it under this ribbon, so that you can just take and wrap it. And then I added some beads at the end, and that just tucks under there like that. So I just embellished it with this pretty little piece of jewelry that was left off of something. So that's the little journal. And so what I did on the inside is we have lots of little goodies. I have some handmade paper. This is by In Faith Inspirations. And so I made this really simple, just with coffee dyed papers, little scrap pieces, and it's just a real simple little journal that I tied together with some sari silk ribbon to hold it together. This was one of the journaling cards, the photos out of the kit, and so I backed it. It's real good and sturdy, and put an eyelet in the corner and just added a ribbon and added a little piece from that blue jean that was left and made a little tassel out of it. So all that slips inside the bag. And there's the little eyelets that hold the handles on. And then on the back side, this little pocket holds just a piece from the kit. And I actually cut it down. It was a wider envelope, but I cut it down to be a little smaller, just so you could see more of the design in the background. And I just added a little button, put some lined paper from the kit inside. And there's a little journaling spot. And here was just a bag that I embossed and inked up. Added some more of that trim, the little sari silk ribbon, and this beautiful photo. And then on the inside, I put more pieces from the kit. So we have, in here is a lot of elephant graphics that are really, really cute. I love them. And then this was just scrap pieces that I made a little scrappy notepad with. And I'll probably add a little piece of ribbon here. So that slips down into this bag, and it can all be used together with the journal or to create something different. So there is my boho bag. I even added this little miniature photo with a little eyelet there on this bulb pin, along with some little charms. So I love how it turned out. I love the blue jean mixed with these patterns. I just think it turned out really pretty. Okay, so let's get into showing how I made this bag. Okay, so here I have already cut out these pages that I printed on legal paper. These are actually on like an onion skin legal paper. And so when you print them out, this is how they turn out. So I just trimmed them out and I ended up with this size. So as we go, this is what we're gonna line it with on the inside. So you just want to look at your pattern and kind of decide what you want to go where, what you want the flap to be. So I'm just going to kind of go with the lines of it to keep the pattern all intact. I'll go a little bit lower. So I'm going to fold that right there. And you can make these, there's no specific way to measure. I just kind of go with the pattern and just to kind of see what I want to show where. So this is going to be the top flap, I think. So then this one is going to, I think I'm going to use this like this. So I'm going to slide that up under there, and then it'll wrap around, something like that. So let me make sure I get it far enough up. So you're just going to kind of shape it to fit what you want to show and what you plan on putting in it. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this up around that. And this will be my back flap. Now, you could leave it just like this, and I'll show you that one. So here was my prototype that I created with just coffee dyed paper, and I lined it just with regular coffee dyed onion skin paper. So there's that one, and this one I literally just sewed up the bottom. But for this project, I actually made it to where it would expand at the bottom so you could put more stuff in. So you have this little kind of like gusseted under here. I don't know if you can see that. So it folds up here to where it will open up like a regular paper bag. So that I think is what I'm going to do for this one, because if you plan on putting much in there, you want it to expand a little bit and have room to grow. So how I did that is once I got it how I wanted it, then I took and I started making some folds. So from here, I made another fold, and I'm just going like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 inches, something like that with each fold. So then that will go down, and then you're going to fold this back up. So it makes you this little crease like this, so that then whenever you put it together, it has room to expand at the bottom when you put stuff in it. I hope that makes sense. So I thought I would demonstrate this one more time just on another piece of paper. So say your fold is like this, and this was the fold that we were working with, okay? So here's where you wanted your pocket to be. So then you would take and open it up, and right below this line, then you would take and do another fold, like a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, something like that. Then we're going to take and bend this one down, like that, and then we're going to fold it back up to meet that one. So then this is what you end up with. So I just wanted to demonstrate that one more time, just to make sure that it was clear. Once we get these little folds made, then what I like to do is open it all back up. And I'm going to take and glue these, just enough to hold them on the edges. So I'm going to go around the edges there, and I'm just using tacky glue. You can use whatever works for you, but just keep in mind that you will, if you want to, I sew around it, and if you plan on sewing yours, then just keep that in mind with the kind of glue that you're going to use, so that you can make sure you can sew through it. So I'm just going to go around this really quick and put the glue on. Alright, so now you're just going to line up your paper best you can and glue it. And if it doesn't match it perfectly, that's okay. My paper printed out just a tad different for some reason. I think one of the settings was different, so it but it's close enough. So once you sew it, you won't have to worry about that. And the reason I like to go ahead and fold first is because when you're trying to, this is going to add extra bulk, and if you kind of mess up your fold and you need to redo it, it's just going to be harder with this extra piece on. So I go ahead and fold it first, and then that way I can just come back, and once my paper is glued, my lining is glued, then I can come back and make those folds because they're already there and it's super simple. So there's that. Now we're going to do the other one. Okay, so those are done. So then once you get those lines folded again, then you don't have to, but I'm gonna go and sew around the edges. Okay, so I've gotten those all sewn around, and I don't know if you can see it. I have the white stitching there. I was hoping you could see it. And so I just stitched all the way around all the edges, and then I'll come back and glue this. So when you're looking at it, as you fold it up and you put it back together, this will be your front. So on the back side, whenever you go to glue this, make sure that this piece slides under that fold there so that it's not in the way of, because if you put it on this side, then you're not going to have the expansion on the inside of the bag like you need. So make sure that you glue it to this side of that fold so that this is your front. You want the fold and the expansion to be on the front of the bag to where when you go to put something in it, it's gonna have that extra. So make sure that you glue underneath this fold like this, and you're not gonna glue it to the fold, you're just gonna glue it to this back pocket. So let's do that. And you don't want to glue this edge because that's the top of your pocket, so you're just going to glue down the sides and the bottom to hold it securely in there. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue, and that will hold that where we need it. So that goes just like that. Flip it over and make sure it's even on this side, because this is where it's actually going to show and where it matters. So we're just going to let that glue dry. Just like that. And so while that's drying, I'm going to flip it over this way. And how we're going to make our sides is with cardstock. So I have another piece of cardstock. And this is just what's left of it, but I printed the same pattern that's on the inside on a piece of coffee dyed cardstock. And so this is what's gonna bond the sides together. So I took and cut them 1.5 inches wide, and then I scored them on the 3/4 line. And so that way when you fold them, and the back side doesn't matter, so this was where my printer messed up on a piece of paper, but that is not going to show because you're going to glue it inside that little, in between the two sides. So then you want to take and, as you look at your side, there's your little fold. So you're going to take and fold this real good and tight, and you're going to slide that over those little, over that crease right there. So where this, whoops. So there's the inside, and you're gonna take and let that fold slide over the bottom fold, just like that. And then you'll take and glue it to the sides like this. And then we'll go ahead and cut off that excess. So there is how that is going to form. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead, and what I did first was I inked the seam of this just in case, because you could possibly see this little white line. So I'm just going to ink it with a dark ink, and that way there won't be any worries about that white showing through on the edge. And I'll go ahead and do the other one while I'm inking. And so that hides that white really well. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to put some glue on my edge here. You want to get right up against those little edges so that it will hold tight on that, to hold those sides together without coming apart. So get right up to the edges on it. And then we're gonna bring this up and glue this down. We can put that down first if that's easier. Make sure it's straight with the edge. And then we're going to bring this up and put it in between there so that they fold over each other. This is going to fold over this fold. And so then we're going to put glue on this side and bring this up to glue to it. And that's going to make a really nice pocket there that opens up and expands for you. Okay. So then we're going to hold this, and we're going to bring this up to glue down to that. Just like that. And so now you can just kind of go back and adjust and make sure it's all where it needs to be. Make sure you got it all glued where it'll stay. So it will open up and expand on the sides just like that. And it has the same pattern as the inside, so you're not going to see anything different. You're just going to see the same pattern. I'm going to trim this little piece here. Okay, so now we're going to do the other side. And so see, this will have this middle part that is going to expand for you. Okay, and honestly, you could have done both of these at the same time, and that's probably what I should have done. I did on the last one, and I didn't think about that today. But you would want to glue both sides on this part first, and then fold this up and catch both of them. But it's okay. I mean, it's doable either way, so it's just a little bit easier to manage that way. But we will make it work. So here I'm going to just slide it down to the corner and line it up on the sides just like we did the other one. The only difference is this one is already folded up. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this side. Okay. So then we'll just come back, now that we know that this is straight and where we need it to be, we'll come back and put some glue on this section. So there. Now we have our cute little gusseted pocket. Just like that. So we're going to let this dry. And see how cute that's going to be? It's going to be really cute. And there are so many bright color combinations in these kits. So we went from this one that has the greens and the pinks and the teal and all those really pretty colors, even the golds and the almost like a burgundy pink. We went from that to these pages that have a totally different look about them. So there's so many different things in these kits that you can work with and get so many different colors and looks about them. So it's a lot of fun. So I'm going to go gather some trims and ribbons and all the goodies that we can add to this one. Okay, so I've gathered up a lot of little trims and fringe, ribbon, all kinds of stuff. So I'm just going to kind of audition all of them and see what works. So I was thinking, I had this little piece that I just ripped off of something, a piece of clothing. And so I thought I might use that right here as the trim with a little bit of natural fringe that it has. And I love the shimmer and the shine on it, and it kind of just brings out the browns in it. So I'm thinking of that. And then I have this little piece of fringe I pulled off of a shirt or something, and I think I'm going to tuck it in this little fold here so it'll hang at the bottom. So we're just going to kind of play for a minute and just see what looks good. And you can't get the full effect, of course, until we're completely done, but we'll just play and see. Too many choices here. So as much as I love this design, with the colors that I have to work with as far as my trims and stuff, I think I'm going to use this and cover this. This has all of the colors, and I really wanted to use this flower truck and be able to pull in some more of these colors. So that's where I'm going to go with this. So I've already inked the edges of it. I just tore it, and I'm going to ink the edges. And so I'm just going to glue that down on top of that. And there we go. So I think these colors will blend fine with the other side, because it's got some of the blues and the pinks in it. So I think it's going to be fine. So I'm excited to use that on the other side. Okay, so now that I've got my trims and everything on this side, I'm going to go on the other side and see if there's anything else that I want to add to it. I need to bring in the blue color a little bit. So let's see what we can find for that. So I have a little bit more of this that I may could tuck under here just to pull it in. So I think I'm just going to let that lay up under here like that. So I'm going to glue that down. Okay, so here's our pocket, and then I'm going to come back with a little bit of sari silk ribbon right there. Okay, so now that that's done, that's how that looks. So here's our pocket. Now back to the other side. What I want to do is I have this little trim that I'm going to go ahead and lay on top of this, just to kind of tone down that bright blue a little bit, like that. Okay, so that looks a little better. Now, what I'm going to do to finish it off, so I have these little dangles that I put on this chain. So there's this one, there's the tassel, there's a key, and then there's a leaf with some rhinestones and some beads hanging. So I want to hang that from here, but I also have this feathery looking gold trim that I thought I may try to hang or lay somewhere. And then I made a sari silk ribbon. So I think my camera cut off when I had finished putting this trim on. I was gathering up stuff maybe. All I did is glue on this handmade rose, and then I took a safety pin and added these little charms. Just safety pinned them into the rows under there. I glued this in under, and then I glued this to the rows. So those just dangled down like that. And I wanted to show you this next part, and I hate it cut off, but I can still show you what I did. So it's real simple. I just took and at the bottom, right underneath this fold, I punched a hole on each side, and then I went in from the back side and put the eyelet in so you would see the pretty side on the outside. From there, I had my little sheer fabric ribbon that I had coffee dyed. I had 2 pieces, so I tied them in a knot at the top, and then I ran a bead through both, and then I ran a bead on each one separately. So I did all that before I ran it through the little eyelet hole, and then I just threaded it through and looped it and tied it on each corner. Then once I got that done, then I just added this little seam binding ribbon to hang on this side. So that's what it looks like. Has a nice little handle, really lightweight, so I think it looks cute. Okay, so now that we have this side, then I wanted to show you the back side. I just hung this little photo from a little safety pin on the sari silk ribbon. And then here I have a bag. It's actually 2 glassine bags that I glued together, back to back. I added some trim, and I added some of this little trim here, a little flower from my jewelry stash. And that way you have 3 pockets. So here's, in this pocket, here's one of the tags. And in this pocket, there's this tag. And then in the back pocket, there's this tag. Really pretty tags. And they just slip right back down into these little pockets. Just like that. So after I glued these 2 together, then I just had glued this on the front before I put the trim on. So that slips down in there. This is one of the really tiny envelopes that came in the kit. I just added this little tiny trim. And on the inside, we just have one of the really sweet little photos. So that sits like that. Back on this side, inside this one, we have another one of those little envelopes that I added some little pom-pom trim, and I added a little closure here. And inside this one is this pretty tag. Back in there. Here's a couple of the really pretty tags. I added another coin with a little brad and just put them together like that. And on the back you have writing space. This is an embossed envelope that I added distress ink to. And then I added this little trim. It was some ribbon that had the same colors. And then this is just probably an earring. It's something out of my jewelry stash with little tassels that I added a safety pin to. On the inside of this one, I have another little just handmade paper little journal. It's just made of little bits and scraps. And I just attached it all together with this sari silk ribbon, so that it can be taken apart or put together. So there's that, and that just slips right back into that envelope. And this all goes right back down in here. So there is another boho bag full of goodies. And I hope I wasn't too confusing showing you how to do it. But they're really fun to make, really easy, just with 2 sheets of paper. And you don't have to use legal paper. You can use just regular paper. It just makes them smaller. So they're lots of fun. And especially when you go to add in your trims and all of your pretties, they just turn out really, really cute. So I hope you like that. I hope you enjoyed the process. So for all the pretty papers, I'll put a link below, and also check out all those, all the other channels that participated, that made all those amazing projects, and there's still more to come. I think you'll enjoy it. I know I enjoyed being a part, and I'm so thankful for this opportunity, and I really had fun. Thanks for joining me today, and I will see you soon. God bless.